fans, it's time for the William T. Spaeder Series preview. Greg Gagne alongside my broadcast partner Sam Lebowitz. And Sam, the Seawolves coming off of a road trip last week in Harrisburg. 7-game series. Harrisburg took the series, but a lot of encouraging signs from the Seawolves, especially on the offensive side.
Oh, absolutely. Hit some homers this week. Jake Holden had a couple of homers. Chris Myers a homer. Really good series for Myers as he walked 8 times in the 7 games. He had a good series. Steven Scott had a good series. Seawolves come home to face this Altoona Curve team with the bats kind of moving in the right direction. I think they're working a little cohesively, more so on the road, coming off that series than they had all year on the road. And of course, at home, things were really, really cohesive a couple weeks ago in the last homestand against the Richmond Flying Squirrels when they swept.
I think it's encouraging to see that the offense, as the weather has begun to heat up, they are starting to find their power stroke. And that is what this team is going to need down the stretch of the first half if they're going to make a run for a repeat to the playoffs.
Absolutely, especially because you consider some of the movement on the pitching side with players like Lyle Lockhart and Andrew Magno going up to AAA Toledo, kind of changing the structure of how things work in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. So it's really an onus on the offense to figure it out, score some runs, and support some of these younger pitchers who have just come up from high West Michigan.
And one of those younger pitchers, Garrett Burhan, who will be making his first home start in this series against the Curve. A lot of encouraging signs from what we saw out of him in his AA debut last week in Harrisburg.
Yeah, he looked really, really polished and poised against a pretty good Senators lineup that had a few big-name prospects in it like Dylan Cruz, good slider, fastball sitting in the low to mid-90s. And again, I think he looked really composed for a AA debut in a ballpark that wasn't his own, and I expect him to come out and be a real strength for this Seawolves team. I think he's going to be pretty good.
On paper, this Altoona team only has 10 wins, but as we know and as we've seen in a 6-game series, all you got to do is catch fire, a couple of bats get going. It could be a tough matchup for the Seawolves this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of a trap series because you come in, you see that record, 10-29 entering play today for the Altoona Curve. They had that 15-game losing streak, which tied an Eastern League record that ended a couple weeks ago. So you look at all that and you think, oh, this is an easy one for the Seawolves here this week, but not necessarily. This Altoona team, they can pitch a little bit. They've got some pitching prospects up and down this roster. We've seen Anthony Solomedo last year and Bubba Chandler. They just got Thomas Harrington, who's also a top 10 Pirates prospect. So there's some heat on the pitching side for this Altoona team. Whether they can score enough runs to support it, that's been the question all year. But you look at a guy like Sung Chae Chang, who we've seen before. He could get things done to the base paths. The Seawolves have struggled throwing out base stealers this year. Jace Bowen's got a little bit of power. We haven't seen him yet. So this Altoona roster, they do have some pieces, and you don't want to come in here acting like this is a gimme series. You still got to come out here and compete. They are still professional baseball players, and anything could happen.
Big week of promotions ahead. It all starts tonight with a 6:05 first pitch. Tomorrow morning, 11:05 a.m. on the first pitch. It's a UPMC Health Plan Education Day game. $2 Thursday on Thursday night. What do they get for $2?
Pepsi products, select domestic draft beers, popcorn, and hot dogs.
Friday is a fireworks night. Saturday, the first 1,000 fans get a Kerry Carpenter bobblehead doll. And then on Sunday, another fireworks night. It's a Fauxbag Fun Day with fireworks at 6:05 p.m. start. It's also Unicorn Night, and the first 512 and younger will get a unicorn headband.
There's a unicorn in the ballpark. So I've heard. We're going to have a unicorn in the ballpark.
So they tell us. Have to stay tuned. Sunday night, 6:05 first pitch. Seawolves and Curve all week at UPMC Park. William T. Spaeder is a comprehensive mechanical contractor that does work in plumbing, HVAC, fire protection, process piping, and water treatment. They do 24/7 service and repair for both commercial establishments and residential homes. Head on over to WMTSpaeder.com for more information.